gotta delete the app.
Wow. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How is everyone doing today? Welcome to Can I Speak on It segment. Here we are with the CEO from 9 Hieroglyph Strips, Mr. Pharaoh A. Allah. Good afternoon, Mr. Allah. How are you?
How you doing? I'm great.
Well, it is definitely a pleasure to have you on today's segment. I've been following you for about a year, ever since you came home. I have been hearing so much about this Pharaoh Allah, and I wanted to meet the person behind Can I Speak on It. I wanted to find out, just like the rest of us, what motivated you into writing the book Can I Speak on It?
To be totally honest with you, I'm just really the organizer of the material. I have a few articles in the book itself, but it's more so a piece of material for other individuals to have a voice. This is why there's no chapters, it's verse, because everyone has a verse.
Wow, very interesting and well spoken. So I read the book and I wanted to speak on the Black woman. It was very interesting. Will you be able to share with the audience about that particular verse?
To be totally honest with you, that's by a brother named B. Hall, Amin Ra. He's from upstate New York. He was actually serving some time in New York State Penitentiary when he wrote the article. It was actually published in a 5%er, the Nation of 5%'s newspaper. I think it was in 2007, if my memory serves me correctly. He was an individual that had the opportunity of coming across me, and I came across him. We had the opportunity of building for a great period of time, over a year, and I thought he was a quite interesting guy. So, he was into the same science I was into, and I asked him for one of his articles, and he happened to give me that one based on it being, I think it was February or something like that, when the National Geographics displayed a black pharaoh on one of their magazines, and he was like more disturbed about the black pharaoh being there and being an original man inside the prison system in a way that we were collectively. And he actually wrote the article because he felt like drained based on life and constantly trying to prove himself. So he more so dedicated that one to the black sisters. That's why it's the first chapter. It's the knowledge. We have to acknowledge our situation here in America. So that was more so, I think, his focus with writing that article.
Wow, that's deep. And then I went on to read others, such as I Just Want to Teach.
Yeah.
How interesting. Nowadays, I think we all teachers in some form of way. So do you care to share?
Well, that's one of my articles there. I wrote that around about the same time, 2007, if my memory serves me correctly. That was more so during Black August. August is a very historical month for us as indigenous people, as we classify ourselves as black people. So when we deal with that, and we deal with George Jackson, Jonathan, Nat Turner, among a number of other things that took place in August, our history runs deep, our lineage runs deep in our bloodline. So, Superman has always expressed himself in August. It's one of the best months.
Wow. So well spoken. And last but least, we have the objective case.
Yeah, that's dealing with us.
Well, what about us?
For an individual like me, I came home from madness in madness. I never saw black people like this before. We're afraid to talk to each other. All of us seem to have a chip on our shoulder things that we never allowed in our society, in our space, is now allowed, and we wonder why things are so chaotic. But you have to really read the article. You know, people could actually plug into my website, which is 9hieroglyph.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, which is Pharaoh Think Piece. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is 9hieroglyph. And if you have any questions, you want to talk about the book, we open to that. But at this particular time, I need people to really understand that I came home from serving 30 years in prison. I've only been home 2 years. So being home, I'm like trying to move to my rhythm, but I'm trying to move to a rhythm of making sure that I'm productive in this timeline. So I'm trying to actually organize the company and put out work at the same time. So I'm really a neophyte in the areas of what it is that I'm doing. But I'm finding success based on a few people that clings on to me, that want to give me assistance in my endeavors. So at this particular time, I'm like 5% closed out completely on my website. My website, you will be able to order the books 3 ways. You will be able to order it directly through me. You will be able to order it through Amazon, which is free shipping and handling. You would also be able to order it through Wix. And no matter which way you order it, let me tell you something about this material. It's very informative. You might find a little joke here and there, because some people don't really know how to express themselves on an intellectual level. So they was more jokative with their method of expression to deliver their point. But all of us heard that. We all seen a comedian on television that expressed politics from a joking manner, and we all laughed at it, but we all knew it to be true. So I tell people to be open to the material.
Wow. Well, Mr. Allah, we thank you so much for coming on today's segment. Ladies and gentlemen, you can purchase the book at Mr. Allah's website that he announced over the segment early on. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Allah, for coming today. And before we let you go, of course, you know, there's someone always in the audience. We want to know, after coming home from doing 30 years, what are some of your other plans?
To be honest with you, there's so many things that I actually want to get into. This is just one of them. But when you actually join on to the site, you will see that there's 2 different elements. There's Hieroglyph Publication and Entertainment, and 9hieroglyph. 9hieroglyph is coming more from the street stardom, urban stardom perspective. This is where the flight jackets, the varsity jackets, this is where the music comes into play. This is where the apparel comes into play with the company. We're just trying to open different doors. This is where the education is going to come into play, because we're a publishing company. Publishing is about getting people into reading, getting people into being informed. So we're going to try to work towards opening developing centers for kids and everything. You know, the company Hieroglyph, with me as the CEO, and building and working towards orchestrating a decent team. We looking to go to the sky.
Well, Mr. Allah, each and every one of us from this segment wish you the absolute best. Also, you know, of course, there's always people that is interesting, and the individual who appear on this segment, like, what about your personal life? I mean, we have a lot of singles out in the audience. And of course, Mr. Allah, you know, with you being as handsome as you are, you know, the ladies always want to know, do you have anyone in your life? Do you have any future plans for a relationship, any kind of commitment? I mean, what are the plans for the future?
To be totally honest with you, you know, that's why the black woman, or Dear Black Woman, was the first verse in the book. You know, I came home from doing a lot of time, and I see the mind state of a lot of sisters out here is different from the mind state I was used to. To be honest with you, I'd be better off by myself, so I don't even drag a woman into hurt, because it seems like that's what they've been through on a repeated basis. So, you know, I'm really working towards organizing myself. Plus, I don't need no burden on my back. And when I say a burden, I don't need nobody to gain leverage on me when I'm not in a decent position to live in, to try to use it as ammunition, you know. And that's one of the bad character flaws about a great deal of our sisters. You know, we have a bad habit, or they have a very bad habit of using things that they find out about one of their own kind and try to use it as leverage. So before I place myself in that position, I'd rather be not just on the right path, but making sure that I'm establishing myself while on that path. So when I do open up to deal with a sister, I'm on common ground, not just spiritually or mentally, but financially, because the sisters have the upper hand right now. And I see that, you know, a lot of individuals have character flaws in that. But sisters always been warriors. That's why I talk so much about the sisters in all my materials, especially when we go into the hill. The sisters from the hill, which would be the street stardom, the urban stardom. When we deal with hieroglyph, that's one of the titles we use for our urban books, street stardom and urban stardom tales. But when we go into that, the sisters from those 3 books, that trilogy, you know, they in sync with the dowaggers, the elderly women, the wise women. So they fall in a different order in how they dealt with their men, how they dealt with the youth in the community, and how they moved in the community in a form of unison. So, you know, me, myself, I've always had a big respect for women. This is why hieroglyph is so important, because the hieroglyph itself represents an A. The A represents the all. The all is all of us collectively working together. This is what creates the reality of God. If you want peace, you have to work together.
Wow. Well put together, Mr. Allah. So, when can we expect to read the next book? Or will there even be a next book?
Well, yeah, hieroglyph has a great deal of written literature that's going to be dropped. Excuse me for the error. But after Can I Speak on It, we're going to push 2 poetry books. To be totally honest with the people out there that's joining on the site, that's becoming members to the app and everything along that line, you know, this is just a buffer. You know, this is a buffer for the greater work to come out from the company. You know, the hill is really my work. You know, it's all me. It's a trilogy based on the area in which I grew up in, which is the Ocean Hill Brownsville section, the 16th district in Brooklyn. You know, it was a great deal of events that took place in the community while growing up there. And most people really don't know, if you don't know anything about history, that the 16th district is where our grandparents organized the revolutionary movements. They organized against the Board of Education and things along that alignment. I don't think our schools would even be in a state of chaos that they're in if we would have let the parents become fully involved like they wanted to be back in the 60s and 70s. But that's a whole nother story. You actually have to get the books. So I ask you people to become members to the site.
Once again, Mr. Allah, can you announce your website? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the website once again for Mr. Pharaoh A. Allah.
That's nonhieroglyph.com. That's HIEROGLYPH.com. Facebook page, Pharaoh Think Peace. That's PHARAOH. Think Peace. Let's think and piece this puzzle together.
Thank you so much, Mr. Allah. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Mr. Allah.